Clay soil can really test the patience of even the most determined gardener. It holds water for way too long, dries into these hard clods and, well, it just suffocates roots. A lot of gardeners spend years trying to amend it with compost alone, only to see, pretty limited results. What finally transformed my heavy sticky soil into a crumbly aerated bed was not just a single material, but actually a layered mulch system. By stacking 3 specific layers in the right order, clay's dense structure breaks apart naturally, worms move in, and crops really thrive. This isn't just a quick surface mulch trick, it's a full soil conditioning system that works with biology to permanently improve structure. The first layer is the base that feeds microbes and softens the surface. The starting layer is coarse organic matter that begins the breakdown process from the top down. Materials like shredded leaves, rough straw, or half-finished compost work best because they create air pockets while slowly feeding microbes. You want to spread this layer directly on the clay at about 2 to 3 inches thick. For example, covering a 4 by 8 foot bed with 1 standard bag of shredded leaves is enough to form the base. As rain and soil organisms begin to pull the material downward, the rigid clay surface starts loosening. This layer isn't about nutrients so much as giving microbes a food source that primes the soil for change. Over time, the edges of the clay clumps become colonized with bacteria and fungi, making them less sticky and more crumbly. The second layer locks in moisture and drives worms into the soil. Once the base is down, the next layer adds a finer organic cover that both retains moisture and attracts worm activity. Rotten fruit scraps, grass clippings, or kitchen vegetable peels spread over the base layer at about 1 inch thick work perfectly. This layer is softer and breaks down faster, which draws earthworms up to feed and then tunnel downward. For instance, spreading the equivalent of 3 to 4 pounds of overripe bananas, melon rinds, or cabbage leaves across a 4 by 8 bed creates an instant worm buffet. Worms digest this layer and drag pieces into the clay beneath, physically opening channels while enriching the soil with castings. Without this layer, the top coarse mulch might just sit there, but with it, the entire soil ecosystem is activated. The third layer seals the system and stabilizes the transformation. The top layer is what holds everything in place, prevents odors, and finishes the soil conditioning process. This is where fine, carbon-rich material like aged wood chips, sawdust mixed with shredded paper, or even dried grass comes in. Spread it thinly, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch, just enough to cover and lock the previous layers from direct sun and wind. On a 4 by 8 bed, that's about a half wheelbarrow load of wood chips spread evenly. This layer slows evaporation, balances the nitrogen-rich second layer, and ensures the decomposition happens quietly and cleanly. Without it, pests might be drawn to the fruit scraps, but with it, the system becomes a sealed soil-building blanket. Over time, this cap layer breaks down as well, but by then, the lower layers have already been pulled into the clay. What makes this system effective is the interaction between layers. The coarse bottom layer pries the clay open with fungal threads and microbial activity. The moist, worm-attracting middle layer drives biological tunneling deeper into the soil. The fine sealing top layer prevents nutrients from escaping and keeps the entire process stable. Within a season, hard clods of clay that used to resist even a spade begin to crumble under light pressure. By repeating the layering twice a year, once in spring and once in fall, the transformation compounds, building a friable soil texture that behaves more like loam. For gardeners who want exact ratios, a good starting formula for a standard 4 by 8 bed is 4 inches of coarse base material, 1 to 2 inches of soft food scraps or fresh green matter, and a thin 1-inch sealing layer of carbon-rich cover. This equals roughly 2 bags of shredded leaves, 3 to 4 pounds of kitchen scraps, and half a wheelbarrow of chips. Apply this system in early spring before planting or in autumn after harvest. If you're applying in spring, you'll want to give it at least 2 to 3 weeks to settle before direct seeding, since, the breakdown process briefly heats up and shifts nutrient availability. For established perennials like fruit trees, the same layering can be applied in about a 3-foot radius around the drip line, feeding soil biology and softening that tough clay around the root zone. A lot of gardeners are tempted to dig in sand or till organic matter into clay, but honestly, this often just makes the problem worse. Mixing sand with clay can actually create a cement-like texture, and tilling destroys all those valuable worm tunnels and fungal threads. The three-layer mulch system avoids both of these pitfalls by letting biology do the heavy lifting. Microbes, worms, and fungi gradually loosen and restructure the soil, creating natural aggregates that really resist compaction. Instead of forcing amendments into the clay with tools, this method allows the soil to reform itself into a crumbly, airy structure that actually lasts. The beauty of this method is that once the layers are set, the soil basically works on itself. There's no constant turning, no expensive amendments, and definitely no heavy digging. You just layer, cover, and let time and biology take over. Within one season, crops grow stronger, roots go deeper, and watering gets a whole lot easier. Over a few years, what used to be sticky, back-breaking clay turns into soil that just crumbles in your hand. It's a lazy gardener's system that delivers lasting results because, well, it works with nature's own design for building soil. So if clay soil has been holding back your garden, give this three-layer mulch system a try and see just how quickly it transforms. For more in-depth soil revival strategies and proven shortcuts that bring tired gardens back to life, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this guide with fellow growers who could use a little soil freedom.